What's up, guys? Haas USMC here, and dealing with some technical problems. Anyway, this morning I want to talk about this article on the New York Times, which we all know is a great and wonderful publication for me to wipe my ass with. And it's about the Constitution. I'll put a link below. And they're basically saying that Constitution's less popular with people in the world, which I could really give two shits about the rest of the world and what they think about our Constitution. But according to some sort of study at the Washington University and University of Virginia, let's see, there's all these little statistics. Basically, it says among the world's democracies, um, the let's see, the Constitution is getting less popular. Steep plunge continues the most recent years. Anyway, it's supposedly a steep plunge, and that this article says, let's see who wrote this. Adam Liptak. You need to get your lips tacked to the wall there, Liptak. All right, he says the United States Constitution is terse and old, and it guarantees relatively few rights. The commitment of some members of the Supreme Court to interpreting the Constitution according to its original meaning in the 18th century may send the signal that it is of little current use to say a new African nation, and the Constitution's waning influence may be part of a general decline in American power and prestige. The Constitution is terse, yes, and old. It's old. Um, its age, I think, should indicate how good it is, honestly, um, or at least that it was going in the right direction. Um, he says the availability of newer, and sexier, and more powerful operating systems in the constitutional marketplace. Nobody wants to copy Windows 3.1. Okay, seriously? Um, Windows 3.1? I mean, equating the Constitution to software is, I can see the parallel in the practicality of it, but it's kind of ridiculous. The Constitution grants every right, and it's not that it grants rights, it's that it grants restrictions for government. I think I would have to agree with those founding fathers that were wary of including a Bill of Rights into our Constitution. And I think that clearly the Ninth Amendment clearly states that it is not a definitive list of rights, and that we have every right outside of that, which I think a lot of people don't understand, that we laws don't give us rights, they restrict rights. And I mean, that's clearly and that we live in a democracy. What the hell is that about? Anyway, the and let's see, lip tack here, old lip tack. um, he says the rights guaranteed by the American Constitution are parsimonious, which means excessively sparing or frugal. There's a reason why people don't read the New York Times, because you use stupid words like that. All you have to say is excessively sparing or frugal. You know, it's the common man that reads your publication here. So I don't understand how the American Constitution is um, frugal in its excessively frugal. How is it excessively frugal? That just doesn't make sense at all. It grants every right. I mean, it even says it's basically saying that that those states, those government entities are restricted, not the people. So I'm not really understanding that. And then he goes on to say, or sorry, a Stanford Stanford Levinson, in something that he wrote, says the U.S. Constitution is the most difficult to amend of any constitutions currently existing in the world today. Yugoslavia used to hold that title, but Yugoslavia did not work out. That's a little side note from their Liptak there. Well, I got news for you, Liptak. It's supposed to be that way. It's our government is intentionally uh, um, inefficient. It's made to be that way because we're not supposed to be changing things. Okay, we're not supposed to be making all these uh, laws that are supposedly covered under the Commerce Clause. And then he goes on to say that other nations are changing their constitutions every 19 years. And Thomas Jefferson said that the Constitution would naturally expire at the end of 19 years, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Thomas Jefferson also said that we should kill people in government every couple of decades. So, are you advocating Thomas Jefferson's stuff? I mean, Liptak, are you a threat to our federal government? Maybe they should be watching you. Maybe they're right to be watching the media. What are you doing? Americans recognize rights not widely protected, including ones to a speedy and a public trial, and are outliners in prohibiting government establishment of religion. But the Constitution is out of step with the rest of the world in failing to protect, at least in so many words, a right to travel? Yeah, yes, it does. The presumption of innocence? Yes, it does. An entitlement to food, education, and health care, which are not rights. Okay, food, education, yeah, I mean, they are rights. You have the right to pursue those things and create them for yourself. Food is a commodity. Education is a commodity. Healthcare is a commodity. Okay? The right to travel, the right to speak, the right to practice a religion and not be forced to practice another religion, the right to speedy public trial, those are all rights. It has idiosyncrasies. Only 2% of the world's constitutions protect, as the Second Amendment does, a right to bear arms. Surprisingly, it's Guatemala and Mexico. The Constitution's waning global stature is inconsistent with the diminished influence of the Supreme Court, which is, quote, losing its central role it once had among courts in modern democracies, says Aaron Barak, the president of the Supreme Court of Israel. Many foreign judges say they have become less likely to cite decisions of the United States Supreme Court because of what they considered its paracolloquialism, which for the rest of us means a quality or state of being of a parochial, which means selfish pettiness or narrowness. So, old Barack there, old, old Barack thinks that it's petty. Mr. Barack, for his part, identified a new constitutional superpower, Canadian law. It serves as a source of inspiration for many countries around the world. The new study suggests the Canadian Charter of Rights of Freedom, adopted in 1982, may now be more influential than its counterpart. It's more expansive and less absolute, and grants equal rights for women, which we already have, and disabled people, which we already have, and allows affirmative action, which is a failure, and requires that those arrested be informed of their rights, which we also have, On the other hand, it balances those rights such as reasonable limits can be demonstratively justified in a free and democratic society. Well, we're not democratic, and okay, um, really, it's really sad. Um, this is the best part, though. From who says this? Justice Antoine Scalia. The Bill of Rights of the former evil empire, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, was much better than ours, he said, adding, "We guarantee freedom of speech and press. Big deal. They guaranteed freedom of speech, of press, and of street demonstrations and protests, and anyone caught trying to suppress criticism of the government will be called to account. Whoa, that is wonderful stuff." Of course, Justice Scalia continued, it's just words on paper, what our framers would have called a parchment guarantee. I got news for you there, Scalia. Maybe you know, maybe you didn't, maybe you had your eyes closed, maybe you were watching Laverne and Shirley or something. But maybe you should have gone over to the USSR and done a couple of street demonstrations during their USSRs when they were in power. See what happens. You could go visit Siberia and talk to some of the folks there about it. You know, know what I mean? Maybe you could have talked to our own freaking defected KGB agents like Yuri Bezmenov and talked to him about how great the USSR was. Okay, that's all I got. Bunch of douchebags, honestly. Thanks for watching.